VoxFX.
Hello there, this is Shao, and welcome to the 7th episode of my 17-part series on getting a great vocal sound. This series is a crash course on best practices you need to know to get good results in a home recording environment, from performance to recording to mixing. Previously, I discussed the necessary equipment for making good recordings. If you haven't already seen this video, please go do so. In today's tutorial, I'll explain how to place your mic to best capture the performance of your vocalist. So let's get started.
Mic placement.
The first factor to consider is the room you record in. You want a room that sounds good, in that it shouldn't have any weird reverberations or reflections, but also shouldn't be completely flat and uninteresting. To hear how your room sounds, walk around the room and clap your hands, listening specifically for the slight echo that happens after the clap. You want to avoid rooms, or parts of rooms, that have an unpleasant ring. As a general rule, bigger, more open rooms with higher ceilings tend to sound better on vocals. Even if you're stuck with the same room the whole time, there are things you can do to improve your room sound. For starters, try to have your performer in the center of the room, away from any walls or corners. If possible, place them in the part of the room that has the highest ceiling. Also, try to avoid glass surfaces like mirrors or windows. If you can't avoid them, have the performer face the glass at a 45-degree angle. Next, consider simple ways to acoustically treat your room. Have your vocalist and your mic stand positioned on a rug. This always makes a big difference for me. If your room still has a ring to it, even in the middle, consider putting up curtains or blankets on the walls. Large, dense furniture like beds and sofas are also a great way to dampen a ringy room. Once your performer is situated, you need to place your mic. Put your mic stand directly in front of the performer. The mic should be high enough that its front is level with the performer's eyes, while pointing parallel to the floor. Then, you want to tilt the mic itself down, while keeping the stand where it is, and point it at the performer's mouth. This will help minimize the effect of plosives, as the mic is not directly in the path of the air. Next, play around with rotating the mic off-axis, so that the front of the mic isn't pointing directly at the performer. Doing so allows you to change the way the performer sounds through the mic. You may find that your vocalist actually sounds better with the mic rotated off-axis a little bit. After that, position your pop filter about 2 to 4 inches away from the cap of your microphone, making sure that it is directly between the mic and the performer. As for the performer's distance from the mic, you kinda have to play it by ear. Let me explain. The closer the vocalist is to the mic, the less ambient room sound will be picked up. So if you have a very loud, ringy room, try bringing your microphone closer to the performer. However, being too close will result in much more audible lip smacks, breathing, and spit noises, and your vocalist will have to perform more quietly to keep the microphone from distorting. Being farther away from the mic lets in more room sound. So if you have a nice sounding room, have them back off the mic somewhat. However, if they're farther away, they will have to perform louder to ensure the mic hears them properly. So it's a trade-off. Try to find the right balance of close mic sound with room sound by playing around with how close the mic is from the performer. This whole process becomes even more complicated when you take into account the microphone's pickup pattern. Directional mics, like cardioid and hyper-cardioid mics, are good at rejecting unwanted noises, because they aren't good at picking up sound from their backs. So, point the back end of a directional mic toward a part of the room that you don't want to get sound from, like a wall or a hard surface that's particularly reflective and noisy. However, directional mics are very prone to something called the proximity effect. This is a phenomenon where the lower frequencies of a sound are boosted when the mic is too close. For example, my mic is hyper-cardioid. This is what it sounds like when I'm just a few inches away from the mic. As you can hear, thanks to the proximity effect, the low frequencies in my voice are emphasized, making my voice sound boomy. So, if you have a directional mic and you want your vocal to have some more low-end power, try bringing the mic in closer. If you don't want this effect, be sure to keep the mic a bit farther away. Omnidirectional mics are more likely to pick up bad room reverberations and background sounds, because they hear everything more or less equally from all sides. However, they're not prone to the proximity effect, so you can bring them in closer without boosting the low frequencies of the vocalist. Bi-directional mics behave differently based on which side you're using. The front generally sounds a little brighter, while the back is more mellow sounding, which gives you some more tonal options. However, be careful how far you rotate them off axis, as this can hurt your sound quality. If you're lucky enough to have a mic that lets you choose its pickup pattern, experiment with the options to see which one sounds the best, keeping in mind what I just explained. All things considered, I found that placing your mic between 8 and 12 inches away from the performer works best in about 90% of cases. In fact, I have a simple method for judging this distance. With your pop filter set, have your performer place their hand widthways between them and the pop filter, with their thumb touching their lips and the other side of their hand touching the pop filter. If their fingers are straight up and down, the distance from the mic to the performer should be about 8 inches. If their fingers are splayed out as wide as they can go, it should be about a foot away. However, this distance isn't a hard and fast rule. If you're going for something a bit different, like a close and intimate vocal sound,
Or screamed vocals!
you will obviously need to be closer or farther than I recommended earlier. I've put a link in the description to an article from the Recording Revolution, which talks about how a vocalist can work the mic by moving closer or farther from it. Finally, here are some last-ditch options you can try if your room sounds particularly bad, or if you're going for a very isolated vocal sound. It may sound weird, but consider recording in a walk-in closet full of clothing. Alternatively, you can take a chair or a stool, flip it over on your desk, drape a large puffy coat or a thick blanket over the legs, and place your microphone inside. Both of these methods can really help block out unwanted noise. If that doesn't work, your other option is to invest in a foam isolation shield. These usually go for between $60 and $130. There's a link in the description to an example ISO shield. However, I definitely recommend doing everything you can to improve your mic placement before buying one. There's no sense in spending money on a problem that could have been solved for free. So that was a lot of information, but it's very important. Mic placement is one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. It gives you a massive amount of creative control. Moreover, taking just 15 minutes to properly place your mic in your performer can make the difference between getting a great vocal sound and a pretty good one. Anyway, that's everything I wanted to say about mic placement. If you liked what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want more information or have any questions about what I've covered here, comment below. I'm always open for questions. And if you'd like to request a VoxFX tutorial, please send me a message. Remember, if it's talky, I can talk about it. In the next video, I'll show you some helpful tools to further improve your recordings. Until then, have fun and keep making sound. VoxFX.